Let's start. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shai. So, our verse of the week is 1855. Bhaktyamam avijanati yavan yashchashmi tatvataha tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tad anantaram. Bhaktyamam avijanati yavan yashchashmi tatvataha tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tad anantaram. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Haribol, Jai Krishna. Okay, so we're actually starting on the very next verse, 1856. So this is nice coming to, almost done the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva karmanyapi sadda kurvano madvyapashrayah mat prasadad avapnoti shashvatam padam avyayam. Read Pragati.
Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. The word Vyapashraya means under the the word Vyapashraya means under the protection of the Supreme Lord. To be free from material contamination, a pure devotee acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord or his representative, the spiritual master. There is no time limitation for a pure devotee. He is always 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. To a devotee who is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, the Lord is very, very kind. In spite of all difficulties, he is eventually placed in the transcendental abode or Krishna Loka. He is guaranteed entrance there. There is no doubt about it. In that supreme abode, there is no change. Everything is eternal, imperishable, and full of knowledge.
Jai. So, yeah, Krishna's just saying, Krishna had just said that you can know him by devotional service only. can go back to him eventually by devotional service. And now he's basically reiterating the point that the devotee, his pure devotee, goes back to Godhead, right? Reaches the eternal, imperishable abode by his grace and is under his protection. So, and then the point here is that even though he's engaged in all kinds of activities, sarva karmani api sada. So although he's sada, always engaged in what? Sarva karmani, all different kinds of activities. So yeah, Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to fight, and that's one of the many activities that Krishna's devotees may have to do for him, especially if they're a Kshatriya, and especially if there's a battlefield situation full of demons on the other side, then the devotee has to fight. So he's assuring Arjuna that don't worry, you're going to engage in this horrible activity of fighting and killing people, but you're going to do it under my protection. And in other words, I'm going to protect you from all sinful reactions. I'm also going to protect your devotion. I'm going to protect you from being degraded, from getting entangled, from anything, from being killed. And by my grace, not only will you be safe, but you will eventually reach the eternal, imperishable abode. So, yeah, Krishna said, so this is our part is mat vyapashraya. We need to take shelter of Krishna. And Krishna's part is mat prasadat. He has to give us mercy. So we take shelter of Krishna and he gives us Krishna prasadam. He gives us his mercy and everything is good. So that's basically bhakti in a nutshell. We take shelter of Krishna, serve Krishna, devote ourselves to Krishna, and Krishna provides and protects and maintains and supports and encourages and brings us back home, back to Godhead. So, yeah. And Prabhupada makes the point here in the purport, there's no time limitation for a pure devotee. He's always, right, the word here is sada, always 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. So that's, and Prabhupada says to that person who's always engaged in Krishna consciousness constantly, the Lord is very kind. Right? So what Prabhupada is saying here is that Krishna consciousness is not a part-time job. It's not just a small fragment of our life, that we do our material life, and then sometimes we go to the temple. Sometimes we, do some little chanting or go to a kirtan event or give a donation or go to Rath Yatra. I mean, that's something, that's a start. But that's not what Krishna is talking about here. Krishna is talking about a person who's always engaged in all kinds of activities for him. In other words, that everything the devotee does during the day is connected to him, no matter what he's doing, right? Yat karoshi yadashnasi, whatever you do, whatever you eat, do that as an offering to Krishna. So that's what we need to do. It's just 24 hours a day, be 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. So how do we do that? Well, we have to make sure that everything is authorized by the Lord's pure devotee. So that's why we need a guru. We need Diksha, Shiksha gurus, and then we just consult with them like, I have this service opportunity, I have this job opportunity, I have this situation with my family, I have this, my sadhana is like this, I have this health situation. And then we just consult with the guru how to connect everything to Krishna, how to best be engaged in the service of Krishna, how to do our work for Krishna, how to raise our family for Krishna, how to maintain the house for Krishna, how to, do our job for Krishna, so that we're always, everything that we do is under the direction of Guru and Krishna. It's all approved and blessed and supported. And yeah, there's not one part of our life that is independent of our Krishna consciousness. It's all integrated and harmonized, and it's all helping us grow closer to Krishna every day. So when we do that, then Krishna is very happy, and he becomes very, very, Prabhupada says, very, very kind. And ultimately says that that person's entrance back home, back to Godhead, is guaranteed. He says he's eventually placed in the transcendental abode, Krishna Loka. He is guaranteed entrance there. There's no doubt about it. Prabhupada's very emphatic with that sentence, right? He is guaranteed entrance there. There is no doubt about it. The person who's serving, who's doing everything 24 hours a day under the direction of the Lord. Because that's what we have to do. That's really all we have to do. Because the whole reason that we're here is because we wanted to do our own thing separate from Krishna, right? We wanted to live independently from Krishna, act according to our desires, forget not what Krishna wants us to do. So as soon as we can get over that independent, that tendency to desire independently or to act whimsically, then Krishna's like, all right, come on home then. You know, if you're done acting independently, you don't need to be here anymore. So that's why Rupa Goswami says that one of the things that spoils devotional service is acting independently or whimsically. It directly counteracts the whole concept of devotional service. The devotional service is under the guidance of the spiritual master, under the direction of Krishna. And that's the whole reason that this Bhagavad Gita was spoken, is because Arjuna wanted to act independently and whimsically, right? He was thinking, I don't want to fight. This is terrible. Krishna's like, no, you have to fight. And Arjuna's like, I shall not fight. This is bad. Like, you know, I have to kill my grandfather. You never killed your grandfather, Krishna. I have to kill my teacher. You never killed Sandipani Muni. You're asking me to do something really abominable here. I refuse. So that kind of consciousness that we come to the material world. So now Krishna is speaking the whole Bhagavad Gita to make us realize that actually Krishna knows best. And Krishna has a plan, and he understands past, present, and future. And if we just agree to be a part of Krishna's plan, then it's all good for us and Krishna and everyone and our relationship. Right?
Yeah.
We have to stop thinking that we know better. Okay, what were you going to say, Pragati?
I had a question.
Yeah.
Like for example, if to earn here in the report say a pure devotee is in 24 hours in devotional service and always Krishna in mind, like Krishna is always there.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like I had this question. We can always, if you want to do some job or something. So I was just talking to my brother and he asked that you have to do this or you should do this something. If I do that thing, then of course I have to take my mind and think of that particular thing, that particular project, and I will not be thinking of Krishna.
Yeah.
Of course, I can give, donate or something, but that particular time is my gone into some materialistic things. So
Yeah.
now what should we choose? Either just let that thing and stand or
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to do some task for your job that's like very mentally demanding, and you're not going to be like daydreaming about Krishna while you're doing it,
yeah,
right?
Krishna won't, because I have to think.
You have to be very mentally absorbed in what you're doing. Yeah, that's understood, right? That while you're doing it, you have to be doing what you're doing and not just spacing out and remembering Krishna. Oh, Krishna, you look so beautiful this morning with your little lotus flower painted around your navel or something. Right. You have to like be focused. So yeah, Krishna understands that. So that's why he says just, connected. Like before you go to work, before you start your work, like, okay, Krishna, I'm doing this as an offering to you. Please, thank you for giving me the strength and the intelligence to be able to do this work by which I can, earn my livelihood and help me to do everything, nicely with a pleasing attitude. Right. And then you get yourself absorbed in your work. And then after you finish work, you're like, thank you, Krishna, for letting me have a great day. And I hope that somehow I become closer to you by doing this work. And I offer you part of the results of this work. And yeah. So it's in that case, it's like you're not directly thinking about Krishna, but you're still praying to Krishna. You're still thanking Krishna. You're still, sometimes reminding yourself about Krishna during breaks or during lunch or whatever, right? Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, in one sense, Krishna is the maintainer. So you could see that this job by which I'm earning money so that I can maintain myself is actually Krishna's arrangement for my maintenance,
Yeah.
right? It's not like Krishna's coming down and being like, go ahead and quit your job and I'll just give you money every month. Not right? He's not necessarily doing that. He may be doing that for somebody, but most people he's arranging some means, some employment or business or something by which they can maintain themselves. But that's also Krishna. Just like he said in relation to the demigods, he said that people who worship the demigods, they get results from the demigods, albeit limited and temporary, but they get results from worshiping the demigods. And then he says that you should know that the gifts that are bestowed by the demigods are actually bestowed by me alone. They're coming right from Krishna indirectly via the demigods. So the same way Krishna gives us a means of livelihood, we work, we do our work, and then we get paid, and it's coming through an employer, right? Through like a payroll system or something into our bank account. But we should know that that's actually those gifts, that income is being bestowed by Krishna alone. And it's just coming through a certain channel by Krishna's arrangement, like that. So we should always be grateful to Krishna that he made that arrangement for us, and it's something stable, and it gives us security and financial stability, and so we can be peaceful and in whatever free time we have, serve him and go on chanting, maintain our spiritual morning program, and yeah. Okay. Yeah, actually, this becomes more clear in the next verse. So let's go to next verse, text 57. Chetasa sarvakarmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upashritya machchita satatam bhava. Any kritika?
In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Purport. When one acts in Krishna consciousness, he does not act as the master of the world. Just like a servant, one should act fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. A servant has no individual independence. He acts only on the order of the master. A servant acting on behalf of the Supreme Master is unaffected by profit and loss. He simply discharges his duty faithfully in terms of the order of the Lord. Now, one may argue that Arjuna was acting under the personal direction of Krishna, but when Krishna is not present, how should one act? If one acts according to the direction of Krishna in this book, as well as under the guidance of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. The Sanskrit word matpara is very important in this word. It indicates that one has no goal in life save and except acting in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna. And while working in that way, one should think of Krishna only. I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. While acting in such a way, one naturally has to think of Krishna. This is perfect Krishna consciousness. One should, however, note that after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result to the Supreme Lord. That sort of duty is not within the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. One should act according to the order of Krishna. This is very important point. That order of Krishna comes to disciplinary succession from the bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, the spiritual master's order should be taken as the prime duty of life. If one gets a bona fide spiritual master and acts according to his direction, then one's perfection of life in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed.
Jai. Yeah. So as far as the spiritual master, we have our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. So he's given very clear instructions on what to do, right? 4 regular principles, 16 rounds, wake up early in the morning before sunrise, and do japa and read, attend class, worship the deity, like that. So when we follow that, we know that we're acting in Krishna consciousness. We're following the order. We're acting according to the order of Krishna, coming down through the spiritual master. And yeah, Prabhupada also wanted evening Bhagavad Gita class, morning class, evening class, right? Transcendental sandwich. So we're trying to do that. And then, even then, see, Prabhupada says that while working, one should think of Krishna only. I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. So whether it's, getting on your bike and going to SMU and setting up a book table, when you get on the bike and start riding, I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. Or whether you're, logging into your job and having a work meeting and getting your task assigned to you for the day, you should think, I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. Or you have to go in and like sedate some child to get dental work done. You can think, I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. Whatever it happens to be. Yeah, that's what it is. And whether we want to do it or not, don't worry about it too much. Just think, Krishna has given me this particular duty, and I'm just gonna take this. If you're tired, then maybe Krishna wants you to take some rest. Right? Yeah, we have to be. He tells us back in chapter 6, he says that one should be regulated in work, rest, recreation, and eating, sleeping, recreation, and work. So you need to get the right amount of sleep, eat the right amount of prasadam, work the right amount, not too much, not too little. And what else? Oh, recreation. Also, we need to have some fun sometimes. It has to be all, not too much, not too little. The right amount. Hold on, I just have to fix this here. Okay. Very well, Divya. Okay, so we are in 1857, talking about the purport here. Yeah, so now Prabhupada says, one should, however, note that after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result to the Supreme Lord. Right, so if we have a service that we're supposed to be performing, and we're like, you know what? I'd rather not do that. I'd rather do something else. And then it's just something that, we get excited about, that we think is fun, that, okay, it's can be Krishna conscious, but it's not what we're supposed to be doing. It's not our service, right? So when that happens, then Prabhupada says that we should not offer the result to the Lord. That sort of duty is not in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. So everything should be authorized. And that's why it's important to have authorities, your spiritual authorities. Prabhupada was he talked about that a lot, right? The temple authorities work under the direction of the temple authorities, like ashram leader or temple president or spiritual master or GBC, or probably it was very much about authority, because if you're working under an authority, then it's very easy to know what you're meant to be doing, right? And then you stop acting independently and whimsically because you have your authority. And if you get an idea, maybe you get some inspiration and you're like, hey, I'd really like to do this for Krishna. And then you go to your authority and you tell them, and they might be like, wow, that's a fantastic idea. Yes, let's arrange for that. Or they say, no, I don't think it's the time for that now. We need to focus on other things. Just like keep doing what you're doing, and let's just, keep that in the back burner or whatever, right? So then we can know that at least, we can assume that what we're doing is what Krishna wants us to do, because it's authorized by our spiritual authority. And if it somehow is not what Krishna wants us to do, then it's not our fault, it's the authority's fault. So they're the ones that are going to suffer the reaction. Okay. All right, so let's go to text 58. Oh, wait. Just a sec. Oh, also in this text 57, there's something interesting, because in the Sanskrit, Krishna is basically referring to every single kind of yoga that he's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Right? He starts off saying, Chetasa sarvakarmani. So sarva karmani is referring to karma yoga. In all of your work, all of your activities that you do, he's basically saying, do them for me. And then the third line, he says, buddhi yogam upashrita. So that means, buddhi yoga means connecting your intelligence to the Lord. And then he says, matchitta satatam bhava. So matchitta means, chit means the consciousness. That's dhyana yoga. Absorb your mind in me. So he's got karma yoga, buddhi yoga, dhyana yoga, all the yogas that he mentioned earlier on in Bhagavad Gita. And so he's saying that do these, when you do these, depending on me, working for me, conscious of me, all of these together are integrated into bhakti. So that's how bhakti is like the perfection of yoga, because it includes and integrates all the different levels of yoga. So we don't need to separately do anything, because everything is bhakti is like all inclusive. Nothing is lacking. So I thought that was cool. Yeah, so when the goal is Krishna, and that's what Prabhupada is saying, everything should be done to satisfy Krishna. When the goal is Krishna, then everything kind of just naturally comes together in bhakti yoga. Okay, text 58. Matchita sarva durgani mad prasada tarishyasi atachatvam mahankaram nashosyasi vinakshyasi. Divya, would you like to read? Text 58.
People, I would love to. Okay. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. A person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious about executing the duties of his existence. The foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxiety. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. He always looks after his friend's comfort, and he gives himself to his friend, who is so devotedly engaged, working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. Therefore, no one should be carried away by the false ego of the bodily concept of life. One should not falsely think himself independent of the laws of material nature or free to act. He is already under strict material laws. But as soon as he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is liberated, free from the material perplexities. One should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in the material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. No conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done, but a person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite verses and purports. So nice.
Things that we think are like bounding or like not interesting, it's like it's actually liberating. That's what he's saying. Like we are thinking like, okay, we can act independently. But Krishna is saying like you are not independent at all. You're bounded by the laws of material nature. So even if you're trying to act independently, you are actually not. So you're anyways bound.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic, right? When you think about it, the more we try to act independently, the more we become entangled, the more we lose our independence. And the more we act under the authority of Krishna and his representatives, the more we actually are free. It's totally counterintuitive.
Right?
It's the same thing with the more we try to make ourselves happy, the more we try to like endeavor for happiness, the more distressed we become. And the more we just like perform some, austerity and devotional service to please Krishna, the more happy we become.
It's actually not enjoyment, it's a suffering.
Exactly.
So just incorporate now then.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
we
simple.
just have to stop trying to enjoy without Krishna and just try to enjoy with Krishna by bringing enjoyment to Krishna. And then we become a part of that enjoyment. Like Prabhupada says, you cook a nice feast, you offer it to Krishna, and after you eat. It's like we do service for Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure, but then afterwards we enjoy it also.
So it's just your mind just needs a retraining. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, like you dress the deities beautifully for his pleasure. You make vases and garlands for his pleasure, but after you see it, right? Like your eyes get the treat.
Prasad.
Yeah, exactly.
Himself when the mirror is pointed at him.
Yeah, otherwise he has to see us. Our wrinkles and gray hair and pimples and
He looks at everybody. That's what it feels like.
yeah,
Because he's so expressive. Like if you're looking at him, you can tell he's looking at you.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's very
Yeah.
alive. Yeah. So yeah, it's saying here that if we just become conscious of Krishna, Matchita, then we pass over all the obstacles of condition. Many difficulties, right? Sarva Durgani. Durgani means like all the difficulties. And yeah, so this world is a place of difficulties. And but Krishna's saying, don't worry about the difficulties, don't worry about the obstacles, don't be discouraged, don't think that you can't do it. All you have to do is remember me, and you're gonna jump over all the hurdles, cross all the mountains, win all the battles. Everything is gonna be great, very easily. How? By my grace, he says. You just need to think of me and work for me and do everything for me, and it's good.
Yes, I don't know. I'm thinking like more on a mental plane. It feels a lot retraining to me. It feels like you have to just retrain your brain to think in a particular way.
Yeah,
Like this is the way I've been thinking, and I'm conditioned,
yeah,
and I have to retrain myself. That's what it feels like.
Totally. Yeah, we have to clean our brains. We have to wash the brain. Brain is very dirty.
If you're conditioned to think in a particular
Yeah.
way.
Mm.
So, like, from the enjoying propensity, like, I'm doing something to get something out of it all the time.
Mhm.
So, just like retrain your brain, like, okay, you're not doing it to get something out of it.
And
Yeah.
actually, everything we don't get, we just get anxieties and misery. We don't get happiness.
Right?
We try to get, but
Yeah, we're trained to think that if I just, do something for my happiness, I'm going to be happy. Right? Or if I just, get material things that are going to support my maintenance, then I'm going to be well situated. Well, I'll be secure, right? I think if I get money, I'll be secure. If I get married, I'll be secure. All these things, but it's total farce. The people who have the more money are the most insecure. Divya?
It just was making me think how all these points, how like truly blessed and like so beyond blessed that we are, that we actually know what our life is meant for. We know what the purpose of our life is, and we have a whole like set of instructions for how to live life and what we should do and what we shouldn't do, and how to get out of it, rather than seeing people on the outside who are just kind of stuck in this hamster wheel of serving their senses, thinking that's going to make them happy, getting like even more entangled in material life, and it's weighing them down. And the more you serve your senses, the more you try to make yourself happy, the more aggravated they get, the more hungry. It's like like hungry demons, like the more they want to be fed, and the more work you have to do to feed them, and you're always looking for the next high, because eventually what used to make you happy is not cutting it anymore, and then you're looking for the next best thing, and it just never ends until you finally, after however many lifetimes, come to the point where you're eligible to understand that you've been trying to fill this like Krishna-sized hole in your heart with all these like mundane things, and it takes so many lifetimes. So it also makes me appreciate that everyone in this class, like everyone every devotee, like how great they actually, how long it took them to get to this point. It makes me also reflect on the greatness of devotees.
Yeah. Yeah, like Prabhupada says here, for one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. So, such a sweet thing that God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller, the Supreme Absolute Truth, becomes your most intimate friend. And then Prabhupada says, he always looks after his friend's comfort. Not only, so he's going to provide for whatever we need to, live comfortably in this world. And not only does he give us comforts, but it says, and he gives himself to his friend who's so devotedly engaged in working 24 hours a day to please him. Material thing is not, he gives himself. That's like the crazy thing. So, I mean, like you said, Divya, everybody has a Krishna-sized hole in their heart, and Krishna-sized means unlimited. So our problem is we're trying to put limited things, right? Limited material things into that hole to try to satisfy the unlimited, to try to fill the unlimited space. But it's never going to work because an unlimited space can never be filled by limited things. So we have to put Krishna in our hearts, and then we'll be totally satisfied. So then, yeah, then Krishna says, if, however, you don't work in Krishna consciousness, if instead you're just absorbed in false ego, ignoring Krishna's instructions here, then you're going to be lost. And Prabhupada says what that means. He says, one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in the material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. So, yeah, we don't want to just stay stuck in repeatedly going around in this ocean of repeated birth and then being born, which is miserable, and then growing up, which is miserable, trying to work in this world as an adult, miserable, old age, even more miserable, death, more miserable. Again, going to the womb of another mother, miserable, birth, miserable, growing up, miserable. It's just like this wheel of misery, like you said, the hamster wheel. We're just getting ourselves more and more entangled with each rotation of the wheel. So, yeah, we really need to get out of this cycle, vicious cycle of birth and death, and take instruction from the spiritual master how to do it. Yeah, so Prabhupada talks about that in the last line. He says, no conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done, but a person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master. So that's really nice. You know, sometimes we wonder, am I doing the right thing? Is this really what Krishna wants me to do? So what Prabhupada is saying here is we get prompted from within the heart, right? We get kind of pushed in certain directions by Krishna, and we get inspirations that we want to do some service, or some idea comes up, or we just talk to the right person and say the right things. We're being prompted by Krishna from within, and then we discover an opportunity that we didn't know that existed. And then we're like, oh, wow, this sounds really great. I would really like to do this. I would like to take this opportunity. Let me just check with my guru, see what he thinks. So it says prompted from within by Krishna and confirmed. So just to make sure that we're not, acting whimsically or independently or out of, the materialistic mind's desires for sense gratification of some kind. We go to the guru and say, oh, my dear spiritual master, I had this inspiration, this opportunity came, and or whatever it is, and I'm wondering if this is a good thing to do. Like, is this a good step forward for me in my devotional life? Because I don't want to do anything unfavorable. So do you think, is this favorable? Is this unfavorable? And then spiritual master will tell us that, actually, this seems like an amazing thing. I feel this is totally Krishna directing you from within and creating this situation for you. You should just go for it. Or a spiritual master will say, no, I think this is kind of a trick of Maya, and you should, be very careful, do a little more research, and be wary of, think carefully about the consequences if you intend to do this. Or he might say, okay, this looks like a reasonably good thing to do, but maybe it's not the time for it. Why don't you give it a couple of years? Get a strong foundation in your spiritual life, grow into it gradually. Don't just jump into something that you're not ready for. So spiritual master is very helpful like that. And then we can just take that as Krishna. Okay. Now I know what to do. Okay, and free to act means he can act freely without getting entangled in karma. He can act in a karma-free way because it's what Krishna wants. Okay, now Krishna is going to speak a little more about this. Text 59. Yad
Yad
ahankaram ashritya na yotsya iti manyase mityaisha vyavasayaste prakritistvam nirokshyati. Okay, do you want to read Prakriti?
If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Purport: Arjuna was a military man and born of the nature of the Kshatriya. Therefore, his natural duty was to fight, but due to false ego, he was fearing that by killing his future grandfather and friends, he would incur sinful reactions. Actually, he was considering himself master of his actions, as if he were directing the good and bad results of such work. He forgot that the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present there, instructing him to fight. That is the forgetfulness of the conditioned soul. The Supreme Personality gives direction as to what is good and what is bad, and one simply has to act in Krishna consciousness to attain the perfection of life. No one can ascertain his destiny as the Supreme Lord can. Therefore, the best course is to take direction from the Supreme Lord and act. No one should neglect the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the order of the spiritual master, he who is the representative of God. One should act unhesitatingly to execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that will keep one safe under all circumstances.
Okay, yeah, so what Krishna is saying here is that we have our nature and we're going to end up acting according to our nature in any case. So he's saying to Arjuna, you're a Kshatriya, you have a nature to fight, and now you have this opportunity to engage your nature in my service, and I'm asking you to do that. So if you do that, it's going to be good for you because you're going to be happy acting according to your nature. You're going to be happy. You're going to please me by your service. You're going to make advancement materially and spiritually. Everything is going to be prosperous and wonderful, and you'll go back to Godhead at the end. But if you decide not to fight in this battle, neglecting my instructions, rejecting my instructions, then you're going to end up fighting anyway. You're going to just fight in another way, but it won't be authorized. And so that fighting is going to get you bad karma, and you're just going to get entangled and become more and more, conditioned and covered by Maya and miserable in this material world. So basically, that's our choices. We can either use our nature in Krishna's service, or we're going to act by that nature anyway in a way that entangles and degrades us. So, yeah. We need to trust Krishna, that Krishna knows what he's doing. And it's very safe. When we surrender to Krishna, it's almost like from that point on, if you just go on surrendering to Krishna and every day you wake up in the morning and are like, please, Krishna, direct me how to serve you today, then, there may be some, opportunities for Maya. I mean, Krishna may test us in certain ways, but generally, whatever happens in that day is it's going to be arranged by Krishna. Because Krishna, I mean, he's the supreme controller. He's controlling everybody anyway. And if we actually are asking him, please take charge of my life, please make it very clear what you want me to do. Please just facilitate the services that you want me to do. Then he's going to do that. He's not going to be like, oh, this devotee's asking me to help them be engaged favorably in service. Yeah, I think I'll just let them do their own thing. He's not going to be like that. He's going to be like, oh, sure, yeah, I'll figure it out for you. I'll let you know what you got to do. So that's what Prabhupada was saying. The Supreme Personality of Godhead gives directions as to what is good and what is bad, and one simply has to act in Krishna consciousness to attain the perfection of life. No one can ascertain his destiny as the Supreme Lord can. So yeah, what do I know about my destiny, my future, there's so many things we don't know about ourselves, right? We don't even know what's going on in our cells of our body. We don't know how our stomach's digesting food. What to speak of past lives and all the karma and all the anartas we have to like we're not even aware of the scope, you know, of what we need to learn or the ways in which we need to grow, or you know, we're very clueless actually. We're basically kind of like a blind person just fumbling in the dark through life. Trying not to get hurt. That's basically what it is. We have no idea who we are, where we're going, what's gonna happen, and it's kind of like trial and error. So thank God there's Krishna, and he gives us directions, and he also, you know, takes a flashlight and shines it on the path, shows us the path, and he also gives us the Jnana Chakshu. He opens our eyes with the torchlight of knowledge so we can actually see where we're going. And he makes it clear, and he can see. He knows our destiny. He knows every single thing. He knows exactly who we are. He knows exactly what we've been through. He knows exactly what we're experiencing now, exactly what we need to do to take the next step forward. And he's ready to direct us. He's already directing us right here in the Bhagavad Gita. He's directing everyone, general instructions, and he's also arranging spiritual guidance for every single individual who wants to make spiritual progress. So, yeah. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you have the nature to fight. If you think about like our dharma, what is our dharma? So the dharma of everyone is to serve Krishna. So we have the dharma to serve. It's supposed to be to serve Krishna, but the essential dharma is to serve. So if we don't serve Krishna, we're just going to serve someone else or serve our senses. We have to serve. So then, yeah, we can either serve some, you know, materialistic people in this world and just get exploited and frustrated. Or we can serve Krishna and be like rewarded 10 times more what we give to him, he's going to give us, and there's no frustration, only spiritual happiness and eternal spiritual credit. So it's kind of a no-brainer, right? The right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to text 60. Swabhavajena Kaunteya Nibadha Svena Karmana Kartum Nechasi Yanmohat Karishyasya Vashopitat. Divya, text 60, please, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. If one refuses to act under the direction of the Supreme Lord, then he is compelled to act by the modes in which he is situated. Everyone is under the spell of a particular combination of the modes of nature and is acting in that way. But anyone who voluntarily engages himself under the direction of the Supreme Lord becomes glorious.
Jai. Yeah. So if we don't act for Krishna, we're going to be acting under the spell, under the spell of the combination of the modes of nature. It reminds Swami talked about how the desire for sense enjoyment and liberation are like two witches that cast a spell on the conditioned soul. And then we get under the spell, we get into like you know, when someone's under a spell, they're not acting as themselves, right? They're just kind of like, they're just getting dragged away into something that the evil like spell master is making them do. So that's what happens, right? We come under the spell of Maya, like a witch casts a spell on us, and then we act in crazy ways that have nothing to do with who we really are. Because who we really are servants of Krishna. And it's just so like insane that we're just identifying with a material lump of and chasing after sense gratification and running away from Krishna. It's just like it's the opposite of who we are and what we're meant to do. So yeah, we're just acting under this spell. So we have to break the spell. So you know, if somebody's under a witch's spell, then they have to find somebody, right? How do they do it? Like in the movies or cartoons, how do they get out of the witch's spell? They have to find like a wizard or somebody to counteract the spell. Something like that.
Someone with opposite energy.
Yeah, like a good witch. There's somebody with powers that can counteract. So that's kind of,
Hate on the
you know, so that's kind of like the role of the spiritual master, right? Is to break the spell, right? We go approach the spiritual master and then they enlighten us with knowledge, which, yeah, and they kind of cut through the ignorance, cut through the Maya, and wake us up, basically, wake us back up to the real conception of who we are and how to act as a real, how to act as a soul, you know, and not act as a bewildered person under a spell. So, yeah, that's what Prabhupada's saying here, that if we just, if we refuse to act under the direction of you're doing here and there, doing all kinds of absurd things in this material world, it's totally like bizarre, absurd things. But if we voluntarily engage ourselves under the direction of Krishna, then our life becomes glorious. So we can go from absurdity to glory, to glory. So do you want to live an absurd life, or do you want to live a glorious life? It's up to us. So Krishna, he's saying, he's basically giving the options here. All right, I think we'll stop there because now we're going to go into a slightly different section. Any thoughts, reflections on these verses?
Very nice. We consider ourselves as a master of, like, when Krishna is saying, actually he was considering himself master of his actions, as if he was directing the good and bad results of such work. So, like, it happens with me before starting anything. We just calculate a lot and we think that, okay, we are the master of our own actions. If we do like this, then results are going to come. You have to act. But it's a very good reminder that no, you need the master, like as you said, the dumbbell, a child with dumbbell
Oh, yeah.
and his father.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're thinking
so
we're doing everything, but we're just trying.
Yeah,
And then if Krishna so desires, he comes up and zip.
so it's Krishna's desire, and then the next point is about the Maya. If we think that okay, everything we are acting in a mode of Maya, in the three modes of material nature, then it's so easy to see the real thing that no, this is Maya. Okay, go to your spiritual master, check with them,
Yeah.
and you're just making up things. Go to your master.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we think that we're doing something Krishna conscious when it's actually Maya.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to check. Because Maya is very tricky. Because she knows that, especially for a devotee, devotees are trying to be Krishna conscious. So Maya will creep up and be like, oh, here's a nice little Krishna conscious thing for you. She'll like package it. She'll package it in Krishna consciousness. That's what happens. She won't be like, hey, you want to do this sinful thing? Fall down. You're like, no, go away. But instead, Maya will come and be like, I have a nice little Krishna conscious thing for you to do. This is going to be really good for your spiritual advancement. And then, yeah, it ends up being a trap. Well, the thing is that if the sincere devotee, that's why it's so important to keep consulting our spiritual masters, spiritual authorities. So then, when Maya gives us some nice little Krishna conscious, so-called Krishna conscious option, and we get interested in it, then, we go to our mentor and be like, hey. And then they're like, no, that's Maya. Or they might let us explore it for a little while if we're attached to the idea, because otherwise, if they just say no, then we might think that, oh, that person is just like, we'll end up, instead of rejecting the thing that they're telling us to reject, we'll end up rejecting them. Right? So sometimes the guru will be like, okay, let's just see where this goes, Yeah, that happened to me one time. that yeah, Maya presented as some opportunity for me. And yeah, actually I was consulting a lot of people. I was like, I wasn't sure about it. I was thinking this could be good, but it could also not be good. And I'm not really sure. And so I was like calling up my senior devotee friends. I asked my Diksha Guru, I asked different Shiksha Gurus, and practically there was only one person that was telling me to be careful. Everybody else was like, oh yeah, that seems really great, really happy for you. You know, you should go for it. And then just one person was like, you know what, Prabhupada Priya, I think this could be Maya. But by that time I was already like attached to the idea. And so I told him, I said, maybe it is, but I think I just need to like explore it a little more. Like I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind, but I just need to, I have to see for myself, you know? And then I was also at the same time constantly praying to Krishna, if this is Maya, please make it clear. Or if this is your will, please make it clear. Because I don't want to do something that's against your will. I really don't want to get into Maya. So then I was, like, you know, kind of like exploring. And then it got to the point where Krishna made it very clear that it was Maya. And then I went back to that devotee and I was like, thank you so much. You were like the one person that like kind of, you know, had the guts to just be like, no, Prabhupada Priya, this is Maya. I was really grateful for him. So that was really good. I mean, in any case, Krishna saved me. But yeah. So sometimes it's like that. That yeah. And then I went to all this, not all, but some of the other people, and I was like, why didn't you tell me it was Maya? You must have seen it. They're like, oh, you seemed into it. It's like, no, next time, don't care how into it I am. So,
I thought someone was Maya, and they asked me, are you Maya? Am I Maya? And I was like, and I feel kind of bad about it.
that you should have been straight with them. I mean, you don't want to, you could just say that, you know, I'm not 100% sure because I don't have, you know, I'm not Trikaligya, but from my perspective, it doesn't look good, you know, right? You can just say, I could be wrong. I myself am still, you know, conditioned soul. I sometimes can't distinguish reality from illusion, but from my perspective, I don't think it's good. I would say don't go there, you know. Yeah. Okay, 5 o'clock. We're gonna call it quits for the day, and tomorrow's another day. So thank you for joining. Let's just see who all's out here in cyberspace. Oh, it's good to see. Hold on. Hold on, probably. We got, oh, Jai Shri Ram's back.
Hi, Jai Shri Ram.
We got Earning Loots. We got Marlon Rodriguez, Vanchikalpa Chivischa. Oh, she's from Gainesville, Florida. Can the spiritual master still instruct us after he leaves his body? Oh, that's an interesting question. Well, can the spiritual master still instruct us? Well, there's a saying that I think Srila Prabhupada said this. I'm not sure if he's quoting someone else, but he says, he reasons ill who says that Vaishnavas die while living still and sound. A Vaishnava dies to live, and living tries to spread the holy name around. So that's from Saragrahi Vaishnava. It's a poem from a poem by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That's encrypted or engraved on the like a plaque underneath Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi in Vrindavan. So yeah, the idea is that the spiritual master is living still in sound. So like Srila Prabhupada, right? We have his classes, we have his books. The books are like written sound because he actually dictated the books. So we have the instructions. As far as like personal individualized instructions, we can receive those through Vaishnavas who are living. So by Krishna's arranged, you know, basically everything is coming from Krishna. So the spiritual master is Krishna's representative, and Krishna uses the spiritual when we surrender to the spiritual master, accepting him as Krishna's representative, then Krishna uses him as his representative and speaks to us through the guru. When that particular guru leaves his body, see that the idea of guru is not just limited to one person. There's a saying that, the guru tattva is like one thing. So Krishna will speak to us through one person, or he'll speak to us through another person. But if we're sincere and we're wanting that instruction, then the instruction of the spiritual master will be there in some way, shape, or form. Even though the physical, that particular individual who was our Diksha Guru or main Shiksha Guru is no longer physically present. So, yeah, Krishna knows what he needs, and he knows what we need to know, and he finds a way to tell us. Is it the natural beauty of a man, or is the natural beauty of a man or woman Maya, or what is in our thoughts that is Maya? Yeah, it's not that beauty is Maya, it's that it's when we see something beautiful for our sense gratification, something or someone beautiful, and we see that person as an object of our sense gratification, that's the Maya. Right? Beauty itself is not Maya. Beauty is a spark of Krishna's splendor. He says that in Bhagavad Gita. Of all the things that are beautiful and wonderful in this world, know that they're just a spark of my splendor. So when we see a very beautiful, very attractive person, we can think, oh, this is Krishna's energy. This is just a tiny little insignificant spark of Krishna's beauty. So yeah, like Kritika is saying, just if seeing this person who's very beautiful, very attractive, you can't take your eyes off them. Just imagine how beautiful Krishna is. Right. One time there was one little 2-year-old child, and he was walking around. He was so cute, little devotee kid, with his tilak and his little sika bouncing around the back, little curly sika and his little dhoti. And he was like talking with his little, sweet voice. And he walked into the room where we were having a meeting, and everybody immediately stopped and just was looking at him, just watching him. As he walked across the room, his every little movement, the movement of his little feet, the way he lifted his hands, and then listening and hanging on his every word. And then his mother called him, and he turned around, and we all just looked, and we watched him walk away, and we were all just smiling, and we all just looked at each other in amazement, like, wow, this child is so attractive. And then one of the senior devotees in the room says, just imagine how beautiful Krishna is, if this material body, of a devotee child is so beautiful. This is just an insignificant spark of Krishna's splendor.
One time, if you see Krishna, after that, you are not gonna like anything because Krishna is so beautiful.
Yeah, that's what Rupa Goswami says. He says if you want to hold on to your material, family and comforts and wealth and basically your material life, then don't go down to the bank of the Yamuna and see that boy there who's playing his flute, standing in threefold bending form, smiling, because your spiritual life is going to be over. I mean, your material life is going to be over. No turning back.
Very strict on like a Gyani kind of fan. He was so strict, and he was like, I don't believe in any Krishna or anybody like that. How he saw Krishna at the bank of Yamuna, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
And then after that he got mad.
He went nuts.
He couldn't see anything else. He's like, I know only one thing, that is Krishna and nobody else.
Yeah. So we have to pray for that vision. Marlon, are you Marlon who is the dentist? I think so, right? You were at Krishna House, Gainesville, and you're a dentist, and you were doing dental treatments on old folks for a while when I was there. I think the same Marlon is here with us. Marlon is saying, Prabhupada Priya, I pray Krishna can allow me to have a wife with same Vaishnav qualities as you. Best wishes, Marlon, in finding a nice Krishna conscious wife. Okay, we had better stop here now. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Marlon, for your good questions. See you all tomorrow. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.